Setting up our Dework bounty board. In this video, you'll see a tutorial of Dework teaching PageDAO and meta builders how to set up their bounty board.
General, just from the formatting and the amount of newer features that they've been picking up on. So in your case, what I would focus on more specifically is a couple of pieces of the space setup and the organizational piece that you can kind of engage with. So one thing to note is on the front of the space itself. While you'll have the singular PageDAO space, and you share that across over here. So I'm just going back to the overview of meta builders. You have the PageDAO space over here. What you have to realize is that you're not limited to just this single space. What you can do is similar to how DAO, for example, have created nested spaces. So this could be a great way if you want to branch out and have different subcategories of content that you're creating for meta builders. As an example, like you want to have marketing separate from sales, separate from onboarding or something like that. You could think of doing it that way. And so if I go over to the board view of this parent space, you can see all the tasks across the nested spaces. But when you go to a specific board, you see just the tasks that were created for this space. So again, the nesting is helpful to have more space. And at the same time, it allows you to segregate content by a category if that's easier for your community or yourself to kind of organize things. So you're not limited to just one space to start off with. The other neat thing is by segregating it by the board, it makes it easy for people to find the content that's relevant. But at the same time, if they go back up to the parent space, like we saw earlier, it's all also aggregated at the top level. So if someone doesn't know where to start in your nested spaces, they can just land on your board and start picking through tasks. Now, while this is helpful from a structural point of view, what's helpful from an onboarding content point of view is the overview page. So it has three key elements over here that's really helpful. So one is this description area. So you can see DAO has chosen to, so if I go back over here, so it's chosen to use a description to really detail out like what their approach is, how they want to run it, what's the organizational, the team, et cetera. So feel free to use that as a strategy to help people understand how they can be engaging, sharing links, et cetera, resources, and so on. That'll make it easy for them to know where they're coming from or where they're going or how they're going to engage with the board once they land on the board view.
If you don't mind if I ask a stupid question here, I'm tapping the three dots for the page down here. In this overview view, we've got spaces, we've got MB ops, we've got clients, and then at the bottom we've got PageDAO. But I'm not actually seeing a way to throw text on around this particular bubble, if that makes any sense.
So it should be what I'm seeing. Yeah, so I'm seeing this right now as your description. So this should be where you are able to click into and edit that, since you are a space owner over here. Yeah, so if you just click into this text, you should be able to edit that.
And so that's in the PageDAO overview. Okay. Yes, indeed. I see that, and yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So I do see that.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering my stupid question.
No worries at all. There are no stupid questions. It's only learning. So that's the best part. And what you could choose to do is, depending how you format this content, like DAO maybe has done, you could choose to direct people to this page first instead of the board. So that way, people who are onboarding, they understand and they have a better sense of how to, use your tasks or how to look out for certain kinds of tasks and so on. So you can really use any kind of, it supports Markdown as well as even file embeds and things like that. So you can make it as rich as you would like. So that's the first of three components on this page. The second one is actually open tasks. So this is handy for when you are using applications and like multiple submission tasks, and they are in the to-do column and not assigned. So if they're not assigned in the to-do column, automatically you will see, or other contributors and you, of course, will see all the list of tasks that people can immediately engage with. So just clicking into the task, even from this page, helps you look into it, read more about it, learn about it, and then go ahead and apply to it, or directly submit. And that's the second thing I think just we'll get into in a short while, is the types of tasks. And I think, at least as far as I saw, uh, maybe you can benefit from seeing the other types, and we can do that in the demo. And I think that would be helpful for the kinds of onboarding tasks that you would, or the initial tasks that you were mentioning earlier. So the second one,
Absolutely.
the second component is really helpful for people to just land here, understand a bit of value, or like engagement and onboarding, and then immediately decide to pick up on something. So sometimes the board can end up getting a bit confusing or a bit overwhelming. So people just want to know, what can I engage with? This is the perfect place for them to start off. So that's why sometimes sending them to this page, if you've enriched your description over here, makes it easy as well for them to find a task as well. You also see here, this is more of a side note, you also see the nested spaces listed on this page as well. So even if they're not looking at it in the sidebar, you don't want them to necessarily get confused with all of the meta builder stuff. They can see on this page if you're using nested spaces or projects. If you want them to go to onboarding first or whatever, you can write that here, and then they know where to go. So it's, again, fairly simple to keep them within the kind of page style experience. And then finally, the third component is the activity feed, where you can post updates. So space owners basically will be able to post an update on the right-hand side. And this basically is helpful for a couple of reasons, and you can really use it how you want. But what we've seen organizations tend to do is, one, use it to announce one or more tasks that they may not have, pushed to their Discord. Or it's a task that has been up for a while, not got much attention. You want to draw attention to it. You can post an update. You can link a task. So directly in the update, you can link a task, and it'll open up, and people can directly view it. Apart from that, we've also seen people use this to celebrate completed tasks. So if you have 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, you're going just a hair too fast. How do you link? I've gone ahead and made an example update here.
Sure.
And you're saying that I can link a task to it, but I'm not saying exactly how to do it.
Yes.
Oh, you may want to refresh the page.
We're working on adding a / command, but right now you would have to copy the URL. So example, this task over here, if you click on it, so this has a task ID. So basically, if you just copy this URL when a task is open and paste that, it'll show up in a rich way like this, where it shows you the status and the name of the task.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm still just looking for that URL. Oh, copy task link. And so now what I'll do is I'll go and I'll edit, and I will paste that link there. Boom. Okay, cool. Figured it out. Thank you.
No worries. So let's refresh there. Yep, there you go, just loading up, and there you go. You have that over there. And so another way that we've seen DAOs use this is they sometimes celebrate when like tasks are completed. So they'll post, they'll put like 1, 2, 3, 5, however many tasks have been completed, and say, we've reached a milestone, or we've completed these tasks, or payments are going out, things like that. So you can also use it for sharing any kind of general update as well. So yeah, I think this page can be quite handy for your community, and the approach that you have having a space within MetaBuilders really gives you good onboarding and like process coverage, gives you access to your nested spaces for your contributors if they want to directly go to a subcategory, of course, access to open tasks. And then from your side as the space owners, being able to broadcast and inform your community about about what progress you're making, or or where you want attention to be brought to certain kinds of tasks.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I think I'll switch over quickly to the onboarding the onboarding space for DAO, and just show you a couple examples of how they run their onboarding. So maybe you will run your own onboarding nested space and then use some of these as references. So they are approaching it slightly differently in that they are, in this case at least, they are awarding points, not actual payments for this. So again, you could choose to do that if you want. If you would like to use points as a way for see how many people have done all the tasks, and then if they have 700 points, because that's the total as an example, then you give them some reward. All right. But from the perspective of your
Sorry, you just gave me a great idea. I've got a really, really talented author that wants an NFT membership but doesn't want to pay for it. And I believe that what we could do is potentially set up a perhaps like some kind of a Twitter coordination effort via Dework here, and allow this user to earn points. And then once a certain number of points have been reached, we could award a membership NFT.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the neat thing of the approach here, is that you can really be, it's flexible enough for you to use it the way you want. And then specifically with multiple submissions, right, as a great example, this task over here, it's basically them just saying, go ahead, fill out the application, so on and so forth. And then we will reward you with points for this, right? So you can see that they've got over 71 folks who have filled out their application form, and that's available directly through here on the task itself. So multiple people can come in and submit work, and you can see as a public person, you can see all the approved submissions. In this case, it looks like they're sharing their Discord ID so that it can be matched up with the application form. But on the other side of things, if you were the manager, you'd also see a section below, and we'll be seeing that shortly in the more full-fledged demo, where you can actually see the submissions coming in and approve them one by one or in batches and more than one or just one, things like that. So this is helpful for, again, when you want to have easy onboarding for many people to be working on a task. As long as this task is in to do, that's one key thing. And you've not assigned it to anyone. So just as
many people as come and look at the board can see that and fill it out, and we just leave it in to do forever. I love that.
So you can keep it also for recurring tasks. You can use it for contests. And then when it has a deadline, you just move it into review, because once it's no longer in to do, it can no longer accept, submissions, things like that. Mm-hmm. So it's quite versatile in how you actually can use that. And again, we'll see that in action in just a few. And I think the final thing to maybe wrap up with in terms of value could be let me just find our board here, the community suggestions tab. So if you go over to say our development and then go over to community suggestions. So this is an example again of how a fleshed out one can look like. But yeah, basically this is community suggestions for your specific space. So your space is example, the PageDAO Writers Guild. You can have your own community suggestions. So this is one way you can allow for people to create a suggestion. And then you can actually go ahead and accept that suggestion into your board. So you can actually not just have a list of suggestions that you then have to go and duplicate in your board. You can actually move the suggestion if it reaches you're manually moving it, but you're saying that, okay, if something reaches 20, I'm going to go and accept that suggestion, move it, and it'll get moved to the board, and then you can start going through your process of getting it worked on. So that's one way of having people create tasks, not necessarily for themselves, but for the community. And then there's another, which I'll show you in just a few minutes as part of the demo, the space demo, where it's permission-based creating of tasks as well.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time? I missed that somehow. What kind of creation?
So in this way, you would be creating suggestions, and they can be, let's open up one of them.
Okay, I understand what you said now.
Yeah, you could have descriptions and content in them. And then when you're the admin, you'll see one more button over here called accept. So you can go and accept the suggestion, and it'll move over to the board, and you can start working on it. So it doesn't just stay here in a suggestion list, but you can actually move it over and start working on it. And you decide when you do that, if it reaches a certain number of votes, or it's just you see the value is closely there, and so on and so forth. And that's how you can use this as a kind of a way for people to create their tasks by creating a suggestion and then getting it moved over to the board.
Okay, so I've gone ahead and done that. I suggested that people create more suggestions, and it moved to do. Is there a way to move it back?
Yeah, so
move
you
task.
can't. Yeah, you can't
Well,
move it back to community suggestions, so you can move it within your space and your nested spaces.
okay, I see. I'm
Yeah,
gonna go ahead and move it to done.
yeah.
I
The
feel
other
more
thing,
productive just by doing that.
the other thing you could also do possibly, if it makes sense, is have like an um, archive space where you just send tasks to, but more likely you can have an archive space that is archived. So again, I'll show you that once I'm in the setting. So actually, maybe I'll get started on that. So I'll
Do
go
you
ahead
mind
and
if I step away for just like 2 minutes
yeah,
here? I'm sorry, I really need to use
no
the
worries,
restroom. I'll
no
be
worries,
right
no
back.
worries.
Anybody else that has questions, feel free to jump on. Okay.
Awesome. So yeah, smart digital payments. Mike was it, or I might have got it wrong. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, so just wanted to get a check-in on your side. How is the session going? Any questions on your side? Any other thoughts?
It's going well. No, I'm just more or less here as an observer. I'm far too busy to even be able to utilize all this information myself. I just want to make sure that everyone within the community, understands it, because this partnership with PageDAO is essential for scalability for both of our organizations.
Sure thing. Sounds good. And anyone else on the call?
A quick question, if you don't mind.
Sure, go for it.
All right, sorry, I missed the first part of the call. I was on a work call. So where is this functionality going to live in Discord? Is this going to be relegated to a certain channel, or I guess I missed the leading off point. How do you jump onto this board?
Got it. No, that's a good question. I would actually want to defer to Dylan on that because I'm not 100% sure on what his intended setup is for how it would integrate with the server. I do, I do think he's back. Is
I
Dylan
am back.
Oh, yeah. So maybe
Yeah,
ER Donaldson, if you just want to repeat that, maybe Dylan, you could help out with the Discord integration part. And maybe I'll step in if he needs any support.
Yes, absolutely. I've gone ahead and I'm dropping a link to it in the channel that we've got set up. It's a little bit weird. We couldn't do it so channel here. I'm actually kind of thinking maybe we need to break this out of the DAO members chat, just make it totally public, and maybe even put it under community here. In fact, I think that's probably the right thing to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that.
Neat. And I think that should also work for like Discord integration at your space level. As I understand it, it's likely connected to the Meta Builders Discord server. So you would have to probably send updates and so on to the Meta Builder server, and then again, it should come through on that integration that you've just set up there, depending on the channel that you've connected it with.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And yeah. So ER Donaldson, did that answer your questions?
Yeah, I think I got it. I'm messing with it right now, trying to connect everything here. So I mean, but I definitely see that as kind of being a rate limiter to the involvement here. So that there's going to need to be very clear signaling on how to jump on this board and take advantage of the utility here.
Perfect. Yes, absolutely. And any amount of feedback that anybody can give me on any part of this, I highly value. Maybe I could even start tipping people in Page for suggestions that lead to an improvement in the flow that makes it easier to use. I just really cannot overstate the importance of getting this right. It's worth whatever it takes.
Awesome. Thanks for that question, Donaldson. So from my side, I'm going to go ahead and jump into some bits of like the organizational stuff, which is more how Dylan and the team would likely be wanting to set up and organize and utilize the tasks. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep this as this main space. I'm going to go ahead and just go over and rename it. I'm just matching yours just for the ease of following through. And yeah, so I think the best thing to do is to go through a flow of what it looks like on your side as the admin and the contributor side who's engaging
I'm
with
sorry,
Rathers.
It looks like we've got some questions coming in from Musashi. He says, we as meta builders want to handle page DAOs, payouts, but don't want to manage their Dework. What is best to do? We did a space within meta builders as a temporary solution. And so he's actually asking if there's a better way to set up the Discord integration such that like the meta builders is kind of like maybe the primary spot and then it also outputs into page DAO. If that's not too far off topic for us to speak about, just right quick here.
Got it. I think that one might be something we'll have to look into more deeply just to be on the same page as to how the setup is. On chat or something like that.
Perfect.
Hope
Thank you,
okay.
sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Awesome. So just going to start off with looking at tasks and task types, and then actually going through a flow of actually a contributor applying to it. So everyone on the call can see what it looks like for someone setting up the task, so they can even give tips if they want to see a task in a certain way. Be engaging. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So let's start off with create a report on project A, something basic and simple. We have a couple of different task type options under permissions, so under task permissions. And so we'll do application first, since that's likely to be helpful. One thing that we could look into again in after this call is figuring out on the Discord role gating parts, and we can see that there's a better way of doing that. But for now, let's just keep it simple and start off with plain old applications and save. And then from the bounty side, you would already likely, as I saw, have your tokens set up. I saw you have the page token set up, so I'm just going to go ahead and do the same, but I'll be using a Rinkubi test ether. So you can maybe even do a test transaction. So once I've added the token, I'm going ahead and selecting it and then putting a small test amount. And you can even have multiple tokens. So if you happen to want to pay like in, part X and, like part page and part, another token, or even send an NFT along with your page. And details about the task. And of course, using / you can get a good amount of rich formatting right here. And so that way you can have rich details and clearly spell out your requirements for the tasks. So in this case, I'll go ahead and just create that. And the fact that it's sitting in to do and is an application task, it is now available for people who can see this board to come in and start applying. So let me go ahead and share this board link with another profile. This is Delilah, and she's clicking on that link. Maybe it's on your Discord channel or elsewhere. It's been shared, and she comes across the task, clicks in, reads about it, understands, that's an application, this is the reward, and wants to go ahead and apply. So on her side, she would click I'm interested, and she would first have to fill out how long she thinks she's going to take on it. So let's say Wednesday to Monday, and then maybe your requirements said that she has to have shared some work portfolio. So I've done work like this, and puts in some links, and she can technically negotiate on the pricing, on the reward. So just by putting in a different value over here, that is possible. So if that's helpful or if that's usable by your community, you can also allow for that. And then go ahead and click I'm interested. So that is the application for a very basic standard application. You can also have custom application forms. So right there where I entered in the portfolio link, it would actually be filled with prompts that you enter in the custom form. And that's helpful if you want to ensure people are filling out your application the way you expect to receive and format it. So yeah, that shows up then on the task activity. Delilah's applied to this task. And on your side as the manager, coming back to Dylan's view and the team, you will see that application come through, and you'll be able to click through to see the person's profile. So this could be other Deworkers who have been on the platform, part of other organizations, and have different Discord roles. You can see all of that. You can see what tasks they've done in the past, and also how many public and private tasks they've done. So that's helpful, again, if you want to decide across multiple applications who you want to include. And you can also see in case they were negotiating on the funding, you can see if they change that value, or you can just leave it as is. So in this case, you can go ahead and say, hey, I want to assign Delilah. And now, not only can you assign one person, if you want to have a team of people working on a project, you can choose to approve more, which means that it doesn't reject all other applications. In case you have multiple and you click just this one, it will accept Delilah but reject all others. If you have Delilah and you want to add more people, you could choose approve more, and then you can accept other applicants as well, and they'll all get added as assignees to the task. So that's a great way, again, if you want to gate your submissions. So you don't want it open like multiple submissions. You want some level of gating to get started. So for here, I'll just do just this one. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so mostly what I see happening is there's basically a 3-step process. First, we identify somebody who wants to put a bounty up, and we help them put the bounty up. And so the bounty is up, and that's step 1. Sure. Step 2 is kind of casting a wide net, getting as many applications as we can, and identifying somebody to work on that particular bounty. And so we've done these 2 steps with an article that Andy has been working on. He's the picture of Mr. Burns here in the call. And basically step 3 is kind of complicated because it's writing. So we're going to do a call. We're going to put an article together. We're going to ship the article, and then Andy gets the bounty. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here, just in terms of like the high level of the process that I see us repeating over and over and over here.
Got it.
So the applications are really helpful. I kind of feel like, I don't know. I feel like maybe we're missing something though with that process, because it's very difficult to, like the issue that I'm having right now is that we've gone ahead and we've said, hey, Andy, like we want you to, put a draft together for us. And we're going to jump on a call together, but we're still getting other applicants. And so one thing that's kind of popped into my head is like a way of dealing with this and trying to make kind of lemonade out of the lemons that we've got here is, like, would it be possible for us to just issue that same bounty to multiple people and have, 2 or 3 different takes on this article that we sponsored to get put together? If that makes sense.
Sure, that's something you could do. So similar to what I was just explaining is you could have, if you have multiple applicants, you can choose to approve more than one, like I was just pointing out. And while they will show up as multiple assignees, what you could do is you could have, like, just as a very rough, very simple way of putting it, you could have, take 1, take 2, take 3, and you basically assign them to different people that are on the task. So that way you can have full-fledged tasks that's available for the person to engage with. at the subtask level. So if I just click into that, it's a full-fledged task. You can add the bounty at this level. You can add any more detailing you'd like, including points and tags, etc. And that's helpful then for you to do that approach where you want to have multiple people working on a project. So that's how you could go ahead and do that as well.
Okay.
Yep.
The second, I mean, to me, it seems like the thing we do is just go ahead and whoever comes to the call, we'll try to do a call with me and Mike and Andy and Musashi. But I'll go ahead and invite a couple of others from the Meta Builders Discord, and we'll see if they want to come, and maybe we can just get a couple different articles written. So perfect. That kind of answers that question. I do feel a bit as if I'm drinking from the fire hose here, because we've had kind of a conversation about creating a parallel Dework board and basically integrating that with Meta Builders so that, there's so that a user that comes to Meta Builders can see the board and see the nested stuff. But then we'll also have one that's primarily targeted at PageDAO and that's directly linked to the PageDAO Discord server. And I think that's how we get the output to just show up in both places where we want it, which I think is good. It's going to take me a little bit of kind of hands dirty time to get it all completely figured out and get it totally working. But I'm really enjoying some of the feedback I'm getting from the rest of the DAO here. And I mean, this is fantastic.
Awesome. No, that's really good. And that could also make sense, having that parallel version, which is more directly synced with your Discord as well. Definitely opens up more opportunities for like role gating and advanced permissioning as well. So that could be helpful.
Okay. I actually just got some feedback. I think I was misinterpreting what Musashi was saying. He thinks we'll just break it out totally. But okay, cool. So I think we've got that all handled. And to be entirely frank, I think most of my questions at this point stand more or less answered. So I guess I'll just kind of yield the floor to the rest of the DAO if anybody has anything. And otherwise, is there anything else that we need to see that we haven't seen yet on this guided tour?
We could wrap up one version of like the contributor finishing the tasks are done. So from the people on the call as contributors are looking like what would they do next, etc. This could be helpful for them if that's okay.
Perfect.
Awesome. So in the case where, Delilah is now assigned to this task, you can see it automatically moved it to progress, and you'll see that it updated the due date to what was mentioned in her application. So we can then go over back to her view, and you'll see that she now has a new option to submit work. It's both available in the task as well as outside. So you can go ahead, she can go ahead and review it. We've actually just in the last, 12 hours released our new comment feature. So it is possible now to have comments directly on the card, on the tasks. And so that's helpful if you want to have conversations right here against the task details and everything that's going on, whether it's about submissions or, direction for the tasks, whatever you need to ask or have answered. You can do that here. And we'll soon, I think we did ship it. So we also support @mentioning. So you can even go ahead and @mention people so that they get a notification about that. That's a quick side note on comments. And then on the work itself, it's as simple as just clicking submit work. And then you can just, for example, paste a link, drop in a file, or just, use / and link, and then type it in whatever it might be. You just likely be pasting it in. So that's, putting in the content and clicking submit will submit the work. And what you want to do then is you want to be, or rather Delilah will be moving it over to review, because that then triggers the approval process, or allows for the approval process to be enabled by the manager of the space. So like Dylan and team. You as a contributor, Delilah as a contributor, can't move it to done because the work itself has to be looked at and approved. And so if I just quickly refresh here, coming back to your view, Dylan, you would see that like you've already done before. You'd be able to open it, see that submission, and then go ahead and approve. And if you have multiple people at the main task level submitting multiple submissions here, you can approve more than one or just this one. Or if they're making submissions at the subtask level, then you can just approve them one by one in each subtask. And the neat thing is that once you approve a submission, and that's the only one, then you automatically move the task to done, and you can go ahead and pay that out. And that's, again, fairly straightforward. As long as you've connected your Gnosis Safe or your MetaMask, you'll be able to pay it out straightforward. Dylan, in your case with PageDAO, you're using a Gnosis Safe or?
Yes, I believe this is going to be relatively straightforward, but I think there may need to be a conversation, because it sounds to me like maybe the thing to do is either just to link this directly to the there's a couple of different kind of things that are going on here that are all going to be wrapped up in this board. Would it be possible to link to multiple Gnosis Safes?
Yes.
Is one question, because we definitely have one for WIP publishing that I could definitely throw some bounties from. And then I believe Mr. Smart and Musashi have a multi-sig that they would also like to link up. So it might be like where there's a maybe for the affiliate or the content marketing section, there's one Gnosis Safe, and then there's a different Gnosis Safe for the Pass the Pin, and maybe Sitka World could do something similar, and Pizza DAO and whoever else needs writing.
Yeah, that's definitely doable. So example, if I were to click batch pay over there, it prompts you to add a Gnosis Safe. So I'm picking Rinkeby since I'm doing test ether, and pasting in the Gnosis Safe contract address and hitting connect. I had not signed in with, make sure you're on the right network as well. And then you're signed in. It'll make sure that you're a signer on the safe. So it's a valid payment method. And then you can click add payment method. What this basically does is behind the scenes, it's adding it to your payment settings for your space. So you could actually go in and have multiple Gnosis Safes right here, or even MetaMasks. But yeah, Gnosis Safes, you can again add it, different networks, different setups, whatever you need. It is possible to have multiple. And then when you're actually going to go and pay, you can use this Gnosis Safe dropdown to select from which Gnosis Safe it is, and then go ahead and create the transaction right from Dework, including the first signature. That will pop up in your MetaMask, and you'll be able to sign from here. And then the remaining signatures will happen in your Gnosis Safe as it normally would. Yeah, exactly. It'll just show up as, since I only shared one transaction right now, it shows a regular transaction. Otherwise, it'll show up as a multi-send, a Gnosis Safe multi-send, and you'll see multiple actions attached to it because that's the different batching that it's doing. So you'll just see one transaction with multiple attached to it. So you only have to sign the one time.
All right. This is the way. Thank you, Musashi.
I guess I'll wrap up just very quickly. We spoke about the contest and onboarding. So I'll just very quickly show you how you would set that up. So example, create an article for, let's just call it for onboarding. And this time you would pick multiple submissions. So this is again handy. And again, you can, like I mentioned earlier, with applications have a custom submission form. So they are filling in the details, as you expect them to, and so on. And then once that's saved, again, you could just add in your reward amount very simply. And just for now, I'm going to go ahead and create that. And then you can see that anyone can now submit the work like we were showing earlier. And they will see that form that you've filled in with details. So, entry name, description. I forgot to put link, so let's just put link over here and format that. And I'll just copy that so I can do the same on Delilah's side. And so you can see now when I refresh on Delilah's side, again, she can just directly submit work to the task without any application required. So again, handy for when you're doing a contest or any kind of onboarding. It's just easy for people to come in, submit work. They'll only ever see their submission. That's the other neat thing, especially if it's a contest. They'll only ever see their submission until you start approving submissions. So if you're doing a contest and have a deadline, you likely want to not approve until the deadline has passed, and you move the task over from to say like in review. Then it can no longer accept any more submissions, and you'll see the pending ones are available. You can start approving them. So I'll approve more than one in this case. And the neat thing that happens is it approves the submission, but it automatically also will create a subtask that replicates the name, replicates the bounty, and assigns it to the person and marks it as done. You also see that has shown up on the right-hand side for payment. We'll do that one more time for Delilah. Approve it, gets approved, subtask gets created with the same name, etc., assigned to Delilah, and you'll see now it's ready for payment. So now we can actually, since we've done all the approvals, we can move this task also to done. It just goes to the bottom since there's no assignee. And you can go ahead and pay out the submissions that were selected. So you could have winners, you could have different tier of winners. And if you're having to say this is first place, you can go in and change the amount so that it's higher, et cetera, et cetera. So any way in which you want to run that, you can run it. And that's really the power of multiple submissions. Yeah, I think that's pretty much in the sense of like how it would work, how submissions work for contributors, how people can engage. Without like say a parallel space, we can have maybe a follow-up call that talks about like access and permissions of you cover it as
Yeah, good to me because it looks very much a new Dework board and basically integrating that with the existing. And we're down to about 8 minutes. And basically my thought here is that this is rocket fuel, and I can't wait to work with each different subDAO from the page DAO to create their own section on the page DAO thing. And we'll just put all the writers and all the writing tasks together. And man, I bet this works awesome.
Yeah, great. So I think
that's amazing. I have a few quick questions here at some point on this board if we want before going to the Discord.
Sure.
Or
yeah, go for it.
Is it possible, like with multiple submissions, to have private comments or is everything public? Because I'm wondering, like, if a writer, for example, could have either some private pricing negotiations or some ideas that they have where they might say, oh, I have an idea for how I could do this, that they don't want someone else to steal their idea. Is that possible, or is it all public? Yeah.
We've just shipped our comments features, so at this time it is all public. But I think I'll take that as really valuable feedback for different kinds of processes, and I think that's a very very valuable piece that you've shared. Is the use cases where privacy is essential. So at this time we don't support it, but what you could do is possibly use the Discord integration and have it connected to a private thread. A private channel, and then people can have individual private threads on that, which you could create, for example.
Yeah, that could work. And then maybe I missed this if it was shared before I had joined, but will individual users, your profile, what information can you share, and can people include all their links, like website, portfolio, with like plenty of links? Because sometimes writers have a lot of links that they might want to share as far as kind of building out their repertoire, resume, that sort of thing.
Got it. It's not, I wouldn't say it's fully fleshed out to that degree, but we do support, let me try to open my profile over here, or at least my test profile here. You can add in social links, and you do have a space to put in like as a bio, you can put in text over here. So this could technically lead to other links that you want to share that is not specifically labeled already here. So you can put like website and other social networks, but in the bio, it's open as free text, so you can put in other links there.
Is there a generous character limit there for the bio?
To be honest, I don't think we have a character limit. Okay. It's just a matter on if you want your organizations to get pushed down. I would expect maybe you want them to be higher up. It is actually valuable for people to see which organizations you're working in. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully that answers that question.
That does. And then I'll have one last quick question, and then I know you got some more you want to fit in the next few minutes. Something I was talking about with Dylan is potentially with I guess would it be possible for, like, say, some premium writers, or if we had a separate sort of sub guild for Sitka World, to have a percentage of the transaction that's kind of taken as a down payment before the actual writing is done? I know that obviously the full amount is a down payment, but a separate part that could go to PageDAO and or Sitka World, like a 5 to 10% sort of platform fee that would be used for funding sort of the organizations that wouldn't go to the actual writer, and that would be paid up front. Is that something you guys have considered, or that could be an optional add-on?
So we don't have that supported in directly the way, like by specifically defining a percentage and it gets paid up front, things like that. But what you could do is when you're creating the task, and let me just very basically call it task A, you can have, like, for example, a down payment task. And this actually has a life cycle of its own at the same time as this exists. So what you could do is you could have the down payment. Oh, sorry, let me finish creating that. You could have the down payment task, have that bounty set up of what the value is of the payment, of like the expected percentage. And then you can mark this task as done. And then this would need to get paid out, or obviously would need to be assigned to someone. So let me say assign it to myself. Oops. Yeah, there we go. And it's got the reward. Yep. And we should be good. I'll just refresh. And then you'll see that basically showing up over here then. So while this task is still getting actually worked on, the writing is actually getting done, maybe it's assigned to someone else, Delilah, and so on, you can have the down payment still ready and queued up for payment at the same time. So maybe this doesn't even start getting worked on until the down payment is done. And you can track that, for example, right here. You can see over here in the top right corner, the reward payment status. So if you see the down payment, it does have that reward status cleared out and shows success in green. You'll know it's paid, and then you can, right from the down payment task, go back up to the parent task, and you can then say, okay, this is, maybe add a tag like ready to start or things like that. And you can, have people then work on it when they see that tag.
Super neat. I'm impressed.
Awesome.
So
again, some of these are not direct, direct solutions to the exact problem, but this the way the tool is flexible. It allows for a lot of different use cases, and we've seen DAOs get quite how do you say it? I guess adventurous, I would almost be the word, with how they use some of these features, which we never expected them to even think of that. So a lot of it also we've learned ourselves by looking at DAOs and how they operate. Was there anything else? Otherwise, you could maybe squeeze in Discord in like 2 minutes.
I need to dip and I need to jump on a call. If Musashi can get his voice working, he, Mike, and Andy for sure. And I have a call to go to here at 5. But if other people still have questions, and if you're still available, Wraithers, I don't see any reason, to kick everybody out or anything like that.
Sure. Yeah, I can stick on for sure. Questions, people have feedback as well. It would all be valuable.
Just a quick note, if you guys wouldn't mind, doing a recorded session that would be geared specifically towards the bounty hunters, so to speak. That would be extremely valuable because this is quite complex. I'm enjoying clicking through it. You've done an excellent presentation, but we would need a quick, 1 to 2 minute breakdown of how you go in, score the bounties, and get out. So
sure.
Just a quick recommendation.
Sure. So, sorry, just to check, was that something that you're looking at doing now? You want to schedule a recording? I might have missed that. Sorry about that.
If you want to do it now, I can stay on, but we definitely need to get it recorded.
Okay. I think maybe we can get on a chat and we can plan it out so that it covers what you're expecting. I don't want to try to do a bit of it now and then it's not really covers what you're looking for. So maybe we can get on a chat after this, if that makes sense.
I think to some extent there needs to be, I don't know, some kind of input from the PageDAO here as well. Because I think part of that is definitely a Dework thing in the sense of like, what can it do? But we also need to, as a DAO, like get together and decide what do we do here. And so I have a task that's not on the bounty board, which is to write a how-to article that'll have links and screenshots and all kinds of stuff. Once we have the process kind of fully fleshed out and we completely understand it. And so that's definitely on my to-do list. We're also working on an article that's just kind of about the partnership with meta builders and what we hope to see there, which we need to go jump in the DMs for. But I don't know. I think I have to help with that too.
Anyway. No, definitely. Sorry to step on any toes. Apologies for that. I did not track that well.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Hey,
but
Dylan,
yeah, no, I think that's essential. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I think we just need to have like an AMA between meta builders and PageDAO and just go over anything that we need to talk about just in one of our channels.
Musashi, where will your mic work? Why don't I just ask that?
He's having internet issues today, so that's why.
So it's not a matter of permissions this time.
No.
Okay.
He's having his internet's been cut out. It's been cutting out all day.
Yeah, that's a drag.
I think he's on mobile right now, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So I think there's a call that's about to happen in a DM. Would you like to be on that, Bobcat? Because I think I can just, or maybe we could just go to the Meta Builders Discord or something.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I don't want to interrupt this conversation or keep it from going anymore. I'm thinking maybe just partner chat over in Meta Builders. If you guys wouldn't mind joining me there.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Thanks. See you soon.
Thanks again for your time, folks. So just checking in. If anyone who's sticking on has any questions or any follow-ups on what has been discussed so far, otherwise happy to take questions in the chat.
I am interested in seeing the Discord integration quickly. I need to head out soon in a couple of minutes, but
yeah, sure.
Seeing how it would be awesome.
Yeah, just give me one sec. Yeah, there we go. So you basically click connect to Discord at the top of the space, and you'll be able to pick your server. In this case, I'm going to pick Pasteurized DAO, my test server. We add in the bot to your server so that it can manage, applicants, permissioning, sending messages, creating threads, etc. And once that's set up, you would actually be able to go into your Discord integration. This is also available under integrations in the top right. And set up the top two, which you've seen most DAOs get the most value of, but you can set up as many as you'd like. So sending a message when a task is created, great way to inform people when you have a new task. And it basically syncs with your Discord to pull in all your server channels. So let's say you have a bounties channel that you want to inform people about a new task. Let's connect it to that. And then you want to create a thread when a task is assigned to someone. So if you don't want to use comments for any reason, like maybe you just want people in your Discord to be able to communicate and they don't have to come to Dework, you could create a thread for each task that's assigned. So you have a place in your Discord that you can have conversations. So for example, you could connect that to a bounties chat channel that exists in your server. So once those are enabled, we can go out and quickly test that. Let's make a new task. Let's just call it create a report on Q3 projects. Put a couple of pieces in there so that it comes through on the update. So I'll put in a reward amount, and let's say I'll then put in a due date, which is available over there. Set it for Friday, type timeline, and let's say we're giving some points for this as well. Hit create, and you'll see as soon as I did that over here on this test server, in the bounties channel that we had connected to, we automatically get this update. It says create a report on Q3 projects, got the task points, the reward, the due date, and anyone can apply or claim. So if I just click that, let's say Delilah is clicking it, she land directly on the task itself on the board. So it's again very easy for someone in your Discord. As soon as they see that update, can click on it, land on the task in Dework, and just start applying or start working on it. So that's the approach for updates. And then let's say that Delilah is assigned. I'm just going to go back over and just going to assign Delilah to that task. Let's assume she applied and I selected her, and move it into progress. you'll see again, we got a couple of updates automatically in the bounties chat channel this time. And you'll see a new thread has been created and it's got a couple of messages already populated. First off, it's got a blurb about the task and who's assigned to it. It's added me and Delilah to the thread because I'm the reviewer and she's the assignee. And it's tagged Delilah so she knows this thread is here. So we can now chat about direction or thoughts or alignment, etc., on what the article or report, etc., is supposed to be about. And this basically will track the whole life cycle of the task. So when it goes into review, when a bit of work is submitted, let's just quickly put in a link. It will share updates as well directly to the thread. So again, if I'm the reviewer, I'm getting tagged when it's important for me to go ahead and take a look at the task. And again, I can just click on the link and directly from Discord land on that specific task and see the submission that I'm supposed to be reviewing. So it's again very seamless. For you to get through.
That's awesome.
Yeah. In a nutshell, that's about it in terms of the Discord integration for tasks. I would quickly point out that there's also the syncing of roles from your Discord. So if you ever want to gate permissions by roles, you could do that. So managing spaces by, say, a Genesis team, all your level 1 contributors should be able to create their own tasks but not add bounties. Or even privacy, if you want a certain space to be private for only select members of your community because they've reached some reputation, you can again set that up and pick different Discord roles. So all of that basically allows for you to customize based on your Discord role, and not necessarily wait on people coming in, getting added, or people clicking on an invite link. As soon as they have that role, they have the permission to do whatever you set up for each of these roles over here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
I'd probably call it there. A side note to what Dylan mentioned earlier about like repeating tasks over and over may also be valuable to use templates. Create a template that works for the most, like maybe say 90% of the kinds of setup that you're going to do, and then you can basically create a task from the template so that you don't have to start from scratch each time. So that might be handy if you're using a similar format, or you just want the rich formatting of your description to be consistent across all of your tasks.
Yeah.
Great.
That's awesome.
Great.
Cool.
Anything
Thanks
else?
so much for your time. I think we're set.
Awesome. Thanks for your time. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Cheers. Musashi.